name Kenny Schrader is not uncommon at the front of a NASCAR grid. Good news for Kenny Schrader today as he starts on the outside of row number 1 is that his crew chief, Scott Hansen, has won the fall race here at Phoenix 4 times in the last 5 years. Now, the guy who is starting on the pole is a new name to some of our TNN viewers, Gary Smith. Your dad, a legendary Winston West driver. You knew to some of our viewers what he got to do to beat a guy like Kenny Schrader here today.
I'm not sure. We came here in October in a rented car, and we led the first 54 laps. So I think we got our game plan sort of set. Like I said, Kenny's a good competitor, and Scott Hansen ended up beating us last year in October. So, but this Robenco Chevrolet's running good, and we're happy to be on the pole.
Bobby Gerald is standing by with a driver who's been driving trucks, not stock cars, recently.
And Ralph, the defending champion of the Copper World Classic for the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour, it's Rick Corelli. Rick starting 14th today. But Rick, the question for you is, does it really matter if you start 14th here in this race?
Well, believe it or not, I mean, if you can get closer to the front, the better off it's going to be. But, I've won this race in years past from 20th, from 28th, and, last year we won it from 4th. But, there's a lot of good cars up here, and I just got to buy my time and race the sun and race the track.
The High Plains Drifter is ready to ride.
Well, that's a veteran, Dave Reese, with a rookie.
Of the more than 70 cars that tried to qualify for today's 40-car field, 16 were Copper Classic rookies. 4 made the show. The best qualifier, Jerry Robertson, the car you see right next to me here. He manhandled his car in qualifications, getting it sideways, but holding on. You think he'd qualify where? 20th, 25th? How about 7th? And he finished 7th in his first Southwest Tour race. So the boys best be watching the rearview mirror for the number 87 today.
All right, they come to life here at Phoenix International Raceway. This will be a 50-lap affair, and in the past, it has kept body shops busy from one end of the country to the other. Stay with us. We'll be back on Race of the Week.
Welcome back to Buddy Job's beautiful Phoenix International Raceway. Such a fine facility here. Dennis Wood and Steve DeGeorge and the gang did such a great job putting this place together. These NASCAR Southwest Tour cars, which are warming up the tires right now, have had some changes to them. Earlier, Steve took a look at them in the garage area.
These Southwest Tour stock cars go plenty fast here at Phoenix, but later this year they go to Las Vegas. Bigger track, higher speeds. Next year, the California Speedway. NASCAR says, let's slow these down a little bit and maybe make them a bit stronger. So they've added mandatory door bars on the right-hand side of the car, just like the driver enjoys on his side. Now, another thing they have done to slow them down, but to also make it a more affordable class, Goodyear's economy tire. It's only 10 inches wide, not 11. Won't take the kind of horsepower punishment, but it's $140 a set cheaper. In the kind of places I stay, that'll buy you a room and a steak dinner for 2. The biggest and most dramatic thing they did was, hey boys, jack that spoiler up to 70 degrees to block that wind and slow them down. Give you a little downforce too for the skinny new tires. Well, they did, but the drivers sit so low, they'd look in the rearview mirror, and all they saw was spoiler. Couldn't see the traffic behind them, and the traffic behind them couldn't see them if they made a hand signal. So guess what they did? Made it out of clear Lexan.
Pretty smart, those guys down in Daytona Beach, huh?
Yep, pretty simple solution.
40 cars, 20 rows, and here's a look at the grid. Smith and Schrader up on the front row. Jim Englebright and Sean Monroe will make up row number 2. As we work our way back through the rest, Chris Trickle, nephew of Dick Trickle, Kevin Richards, the next rows. Good field of cars here. The Southwest Tour, of course, when they come down here to Phoenix, there are a lot of drivers from the Northwest Tour, which continues to run up around Seattle and Portland and over in that area.
And there is Rick Corelli, who's done so well here. The only mistake he has ever made here was he loaned a car one time to Junior Hanley, who promptly won the race with it and beat Corelli. One name you will not see here that you might expect is Ron Hornaday Jr., who dominated this event in years past. He has now gone cross truck racing, and I thought maybe he'd come up to the front of it, but not to be seen.
He's got a boss named Earnhardt, not necessarily Dale, but Teresa, who would like to see them win that truck championship again. Matt Kenseth, you just saw him there. He's in car number 3. That's the car that Scott Hansen actually physically drove to his victories here for Jerry Gunderman. Matt is going to drive for Jerry on the ASA Tour as they go for the Pat Schauer Rookie of the Year Award. And, of course, as you heard earlier from Steve, Scott Hansen now moving over to Schrader's operation, which Kenny Schrader and Rick Hendrick will co-own.
It's a big field on a 1-mile racetrack. Buddy Joe likes to call it the fastest mile in the world, or the United States, or whatever. And as we said before, it's an oval, but with a kink on the backstretch. That at the highest speed part of the racetrack, really.
Pretty unique facilities. We go on board here with Jerry Robertson. He'll carry our onboard camera. The rookie going to give us a tour of this 1-mile oval. And he'll be coming up to speed here as the pace car will dive down pit road.
The flag is out. Kenny Schrader outside of row number 1 with the green hood on the otherwise red mud car. But it's Gary Smith sliding up into the lead. Followed by Schrader, Jim Engelbright, the number 20 car.
Everybody just sorting themselves out right now. Schrader about 2.5 car lengths behind. Smith got a pretty good jump on that, Steve.
Yeah, he really did. As we all know, Kenny Schrader just lives to race. He would race 365 days a year. He had something for him to climb in. It wouldn't matter as long as it had 4 wheels. He might even ride 2 or 3.
You know, we heard earlier Rick Corelli talking about racing the sun. As we went on board there for a second, you got a good indication of what that's all about. The later stages of the afternoon here in Phoenix, as the sun sets into the west, it's right in the driver's eyes as they come out of turn 4 and race down the long front straightaway, diving into turn number 1. That makes it very difficult to find your reference points for braking and things of that nature. It's really going to be tricky. Look at this fight deep in the field. Oh, we got him brushing the wall back there too, Steve.
And each other, I might add.
That was a mess. Frank Moronsky out of Fort Hill, California was one of those drivers. There he is. He was involved in that incident, and I bet you he blew a tire when he brushed the wall up the front straightaway, and that stuffed him in the wall in 1 and 2.
I think that's exactly what happened. So we are under caution because of the problems with the 7 car. You never know. They may get her back in the race. But right now, with just a lap or 2 in the bag, it's Gary Smith, Schrader, Engelbright, and Rowan Richards. We'll be right back to Race of the Week.